Hello, welcome to CEAZOR Snack Sandwich. Today we're going to take a quick look at OpenLeverage. Now, OpenLeverage is a permissionless margin trading protocol. It's currently live on Ethereum, but they're going to be launching on sidechains like Binance Smart Chain, AVAX, and so forth. I'm not exactly sure all the sidechains, but they will go to other EMV sidechains in the future. Now, it's pretty interesting. Basically, when I say permissionless, that means that anyone can open a pair, a trading market for any kind of liquidity pools that are out there. So let's go into this flowchart here, and I'll use this flowchart from their docs to explain it to you kind of quickly. There are several different kinds of users. There is the user who just wants to open up a market. So he will choose two tokens that are currently in some sort of AMA already, like maybe Uniswap or SpookySwap or PancakeSwap or any of the swaps that are out there. He will choose two of them and he will open up the market as long as there is already an AMA. Now this is probably going to cost some gas, but it's a quick little interaction. So you'll see there are two tokens, and these tokens represent that single AMA liquidity pool. Then we have another user who supplies liquidity to one of these sides. So think of it this way. There is I'll come back to this user in a second. Okay, so then there's the borrower who wants to go long on one of the tokens. So he's got to borrow tokens from the supplier, right? So in this case, they're using USDC and FEI, which is kind of strange. So let's use, instead of FEI, let's call this ETH. So anyhow, so let's pretend this is ETH, okay? So we have a user that can come here and supply USDC. And the borrower will bring some collateral, put inside the collateral, borrow like some leveraged amount of USDC from the lending market, and then use that USDC to buy the other token. So in this case, if I said it was ETH, then he would be buying ETH with like leveraged up liquidity that he used to borrow this, right? Now, of course, he has to pay interest to this person for supplying this liquidity, but this person gets to decide, which side he wants to provide to. Maybe he could come with ETH and supply ETH here instead of, and people then who wanted to go short ETH, they could use ETH to get stable coins and so forth, and then wait for ETH to go down further in price and then buy it back and pay off their debt. Okay, so that's pretty much how the market works. There are these three major actors. So let's go into the app and take a quick look at the app. The app looks pretty good. You've got your dashboard and all the current pools. Now, the reason why I said it's permissionless is because anybody can do this. Anyone can just come in here as long as there is a liquidity pool on the supported AMAs and just open up the market, right? Just open up this market. Now these markets are completely isolated. So this ETH or this FEI or whatever is not correlated with other markets that have ETH or FEI. So when this user comes with his ETH and he supplies to this market, he's not supplying ETH to any long or any short or any leverage market. He's only supplying to this individual one. So if we go back to the markets here, we can see there are a whole bunch, right? So for example, ETH. So there's a whole bunch of ETH, right? So if I wanted to come and lend my ETH to this pool, then it would only be available to people who wanted to leverage this pool. Okay, so let's go into the margin trading first and talk about this user. So this user wants to like open a position, and let's say he doesn't see like his liquidity pool. He can just go here and create one quickly. Okay, now you can see that they're using the Uniswap version 3 as the liquidity pool, and it does show you the liquidity pools, version 3's liquidity pools trading fee out there, but there are also some fees inside here as well. So let's say I open this up, and let's say I wanted to long ETH. I could long ETH at 2.4% in this market, but if I go to another market, it's only 2%. So each individual market has its own risk factors and its own risk like tolerances and so forth. And they say in the docs that it's dependent on like liquidity depth and as well as like volatility and stuff. So if you want to know more about how why this one's 2 and the other one is like 2.4x or whatever, I would say you should dive real deep into the docs, and you'll understand it a little bit more. So it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to click, I want to long ETH, so I just come with maybe $1,000 worth of collateral, and I'll log on 2x and approve the spending of my USDC and douche, and it opens it up. So it takes my collateral, right? It sticks it into this contract. It borrows this collateral, buys, and then buys the ETH and holds the ETH for me. I can't walk away with this ETH, right? So when I want to close the position in profit, it unwinds it, right? It takes that ETH, it sells it for USDC, it pays off my debt plus interest and gives me the rest, okay? And but this guy here does get when he supplies USDC or any kind of token to this side, he does get back a share token that he can use in DeFi. It's like Lego, like a compound token type thing. They call them L tokens. So he would get L USDC, and maybe there are some places in the future where he could supply that LUSD for some sort of DeFi use case, right? So back to the margin trading. So it's pretty good. Like I like this that they have their own native chart here, but you can also switch to trading view. It's pretty crisp, it's smooth, it's quick, it's easy. You can see all the historical transactions, people getting liquidated because ETH dumped a little bit more, right? And that's pretty much it. So margin trading on Ethereum, but in the future on sidechains as well, with pretty much any pool that you possibly could want. Next one, lend to earn. So this is where I said, if you wanted to supply some ETH or supply some of these tokens, you would click on here. And then you would say, oh, which one did you want to supply to? So like I said, these are all isolated, right? Now, the APY is dependent on utilization, okay? So the more leverage trading people are doing, the more interest rate you're going to get. And it follows this chart. Let me go to the chart. So basically this is just basically like a compound or any other kind of lending curve, where it's, as the utilization goes up, the interest rate goes up, and once it hits a certain part, it starts jacking up quite drastically, okay? And then we have my positions leaderboard and so forth. Like if these are the people who have made the most by playing this game and so forth. These wallets, I think it's pretty interesting. There is one more thing. They are introducing the governance token to share in the fees. So I did not show you the fees yet, right? So let's go down to the fees. So the fee, every transaction is like every kind of leverage up transaction costs you 0.22%, and 33% of that, so 1/3 of the transaction fees for each thing, are held in escrow or in the protocol as an insurance fund for, in the case liquidators don't do their job and liquidate people's positions when they're in liquidation, right? Let's go to the margin call, and let's put 1,000 here. And it does show the liquidation price here. If I were to use $1,000, this is the liquidation price of ETH. If ETH goes to this price, then I get liquidated. It would be nice to have this on the chart, showing me immediately, but I guess I can just scroll down and find it and so forth and look, or maybe even use TradingView or so forth. But it'd be nice to show this on the chart. But anyhow, back to this. So they have this 33% of this 22% are held as insurance for just in case there's some liquidation issues, right? There are 46% of these fees go towards the staking reward program, and 20% go to the dev fund. So this 46% here is going to basically go to these token holders, basically. Now, if we go down, we scroll down, we scroll. You can read this if you want. There is a chart here that explains kind of what's going on with the OLE token. And so in order to get the OLE token, you have to participate in the protocol. So borrowing, liquidation, lending, farming. They did do some airdrops to certain people, 55% were going to the community members, people who, did some testnet stuff, practiced on testnet, beta testers and so, but the rest of it's going to borrowing, lending, liquidation, and farming. So if you perform any of these actions, you can get some OLE tokens. You can supply the OLE tokens to the Uniswap pool and farm some more, right? And farm some more OLE tokens, or you can just straight stake OLE for some farming rewards as well. And then we can also VE token hold it, so lock it up for 1, 3. I guess it doesn't say, it just says time weighted escrow. It doesn't say VE token 1, up to 4 years and so forth, but I'm assuming that's what they're going to do. And then you're going to get a third of that, those fees, you're going to get like some boosts on your lending. So if you do lend, you're going to get more OLE tokens because you have this time escrow locked, maybe VE OLE, and then some discounts on margin trading if you are margin trading. Okay, so that's just a quick look. There's a lot here. You can probably go through the docs and read it a little more carefully, especially the liquidation section and this Oracle on-demand Oracle. If you want to understand more about the oracles and how the prices are being done, they have this 3-step time-weighted average price from Uniswap. So I think this is pretty interesting, and they're also using, like if they're using Uniswap version 3, then you can read through this and get a better understanding. I did read it and understand it somewhat, but I can't explain it very, very clearly. So that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. You could come and test it out, try it out. Hopefully it'll come to Phantom, but I did see that they're going to go to maybe Binance Smart Chain first, and then Pancake, because they did talk a lot about Pancake Swap in their docs and in the mediums and so forth. So thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.